So great. As always, three parts to the entire session. We'll start with the what and the why of interviews, and then I'll hand over to Simin for taking us through the how. How do you crack interviews? And I'll take the first two sections of the what and the why. So starting with the what is an interview? I mean, as you know the rules, you can always keep participating in the chat box. There are questions that I'll ask, and there are quizzes that I'll throw across, and you can keep participating there. You can also ask your questions in the chat box. So very simply put, if I ask my father or my grandfather or my uncle what's an interview, they will most probably tell us that an interview is one situation where you will be asked questions and you will answer. So that's the before of an interview. What used to be perceived as an interview, a structured conversation where a participant is asked questions and there are answers being provided. What's the after? What is it currently? Today, if you ask me, an interview is much more interactive. It's no more a one-way conversation of questions and answers. It's an interaction. It's a conversation which needs insights not only to your skills, but also to your personality. Now, when I say skills, it's already a step forward, right? Before it was only about degrees and the knowledge you have. Skills is already a step forward from there. And I would want to add on your personality also, because with time, there have been a lot more questions that have come up where the intention is to know you as a person more than the facts that you're going to throw or more than the degrees that you're going to have. Normally in the what bit, guys, there are three parts to an interview. I can see a lot of college grads in the audience, and therefore I would want to extend clarity on the three parts. First part is the introduction. This happens in the first 2-3 minutes. Now the introduction is not when you enter the room. The introduction is when you enter the building of the interview, or for that matter, when you're putting your video on in your video interview, when you meet the watchman, when you meet people outside the interview room, how you're dressed, how you're feeling, what are your motivation levels, are you smiling or not, are you in a good mood? All of this becomes a part of introduction, first part. Second part is getting to know you. This is what we mistake as an interview always. Only this part. This part, most of you are already aware. Getting to know you is about questions and answers and conversations and discussions. And tell me about yourself, your strengths and weaknesses. Why should we hire you? All of that. Last bit is closing. Now, in every interview that you face, you can always own the closing of the interview by asking the right questions, by leaving the right message, by actually also even following up later in a very, very professional way. I'll get into a little more details. Introduction, as I said, is about 20%. In that 20%, there are some specific things that you have to keep in mind. First, turn off your cell phone before stepping into the interview. Many people that I have interviewed have been chewing gums while they are giving the interview. Never do that. Try and keep yourself as professional as possible. It's always okay to offer a firm handshake when corona is not there. Otherwise, a namaste is good. Make eye contact, very important. In an interview, I have had interviewers not making eye contact with me, and many interviews where the candidate looks at the ceiling, looks at the right side or left side, or looks at the bottom, just doesn't have the habit of making an eye contact. You normally don't develop a connect if you're not making eye contact. Wait for the interviewer to offer you a seat, but don't wait for long enough also. Ask, sir, may I take the seat, please? Not that you keep standing while the interview is maybe making notes of the last interview, but it's advisable to not jump into the seat as soon as you enter the room. Obviously, find a comfortable, relaxed sitting position. However you're comfortable, don't try to sleep on the chair, but however you're comfortable, and smile naturally. I think that's an important one. A lot of times it becomes very obvious when you're smiling in a fake manner. And when I say fake, I mean fake, that you don't want to smile, but you're smiling because you're facing an interview. Right? Smiling naturally is something which is an art, and it always helps. Be aware of the non-verbal cues. How is your body behaving? How are you behaving? Are your eyebrows raised? Etc. etc. Convey confidence. I think it's a very important one. Keeping your arms and legs uncrossed also helps. Definitely arms, if not legs. But these are all part of introduction in the first 20%, right? Getting to know you. which is the second phase, guys, is the second part, the big one, right? This is the big roadblock, 60% of the time. In this, I'll tell you what all to avoid. I will not tell you what all to cover. I think Simin is comprehensively covering that part, but what all to avoid, I'll share. First, avoid oversharing about your personal life. I'm smiling because every time I have asked a candidate, tell me about yourself, I'm scared he's going to talk 10 minutes about his family. It's okay to mention that I'm from what kind of family, who are my parents, etc. But that's it. Maybe 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. That's just to give them an idea. But oversharing becomes then an issue. Then you start becoming emotional also about some achievements, let's say of your father, or your sister or brother, not required. Second is avoid answering with an opinion. Always avoid answering with an opinion on a topic, especially which is sensitive. That is not recommended. Second is avoid having a vague response. That's another thing that's recommended, that should not be there. Thirdly, avoid saying anything negative about past employees or co-workers. Many times you are asked, even in the poll I asked, how many of you have been asked the question, why do you want to leave your last organization, right? It's a very common question. Majority of you answered that you have been asked this question. You subconsciously, unconsciously end up saying something which you should not be saying about your past employer, right? Be very, very, very aware of that you're not talking about things that are not favorable about your past employer. Last is, you do not have to talk continuously. A lot of times there's a pause. You have answered and the interviewer is not talking. Don't be uncomfortable with the pause. It's okay. You don't have to fill up the pauses with constantly speaking. So try and make sure that whatever you're answering in a very, very concise manner. Third phase in an interview in the what bit is the closing, right? Your opportunity to ask the right questions or on the information that has not been discussed till now. It's also an opportunity to bring up additional benefits of hiring you. Why hire you? Don't start boasting, avoid that. But it's important, if you have not put across the point till now, you can mention that, why should we hire you? And also tell them why you would be a good fit. This is related to why should we hire you, but why you and why you are a good fit, both of them becomes important, just in case you have not been asked that question already. If you have been asked that question, it's okay, you can avoid that. It's always safe to ask when the decision will be made and next steps if you're not aware of what question to ask. Also very important, in the questions that you want to ask, you don't have to force yourself ki question पूछना ही है. That's okay. If you don't have a question, you can move on. You can say, I've read the JD, I understand what questions. I have also inquired from the HR already and I'm good to go. That's it. I would want to leave you with two important thoughts on this entire bit of interviews. Firstly, a lot of interviews are happening on video right now, right? Any of you have appeared on a video interview in the last 6 months? Can you put a quick yes on the chat box for me to see? Parul says yes, Mohammed says yes, Meenal says yes, Ashutosh, Parag, Mani, Saurabh, a lot of you, right? So a video interview, guys, is a little different from what a normal interview is, a face-to-face interview is, and there has to be some things that you have to keep in mind in the what itself. First is dress sharp. Now, a lot of times we assume because it's on video, it's okay not to dress in a manner that I would have dressed otherwise for a face-to-face interview. I have found people in their t-shirts a lot of times in the last 6 months when I have conducted interviews myself. It doesn't help. If it's a role where a t-shirt is okay, then you are okay to go ahead with a t-shirt. But if it's a role which is a formal professional role where you need to be in your formals, it's advisable to be in your formals. Second is, even on video, smile and make eye contact. You know where you can see the person at some place on your screen, right? And therefore it's advisable that you're making eye contact. Thirdly, it may not be so much important in a face-to-face interview, but in a video interview, it doesn't harm to keep a pen and a paper. Now, if an important discussion comes up and you feel a point is noteworthy, you can write down the point. It leaves a good impression to say that this person is attentive and is actually writing down the points. But don't keep writing all the time. You're supposed to constantly make eye contact, maybe once or twice, write down the important points. Test your internet. Always don't assume your internet will work fine. Test it properly. No one, remember, no one likes a broken conversation or a frozen screen. Make sure it's the right environment. I think what is visible behind you sometimes becomes more important than what is visible on your face, especially in a video interview, right? Neat room, no disturbance, making sure that no one jumps in, jumps out of the room while you're taking the interview. Very important, keeping the right environment in check. Coming to the why part, why is an important interview important? I think this doesn't need any discussion. In all stages that you go through in the hiring process, irrespective of all other rounds, if you don't clear the interview, you're not through. So that is not open to discussion as such. But why is the skill important? I'll spend a little time on that. Firstly, an interview is an opportunity of a lifetime to build a network. One person who is on video, on Saurabh Vatla, on the screen that I can see, I have had 2 interviews with him. And we have not gone ahead with the role, but we have become lifetime networks for each other. And I'm giving an example right in front of you. An interview is an opportunity for building a rapport or a network for lifetime. And very important one that we don't realize. We take it as a transactional discussion a lot of times. And you're missing a point if you're doing that. Thirdly, it's very important that you take an assumption of being an equal. That you're talking to someone who is not your senior. If you take an assumption of being an equal, guys, it always helps for you in being comfortable, being relaxed while you're giving the interview. Next, remember, as much as the employee needs a job, the organization also needs an employee for that profile, right? And therefore, this assumption will help you understand the importance of considering being an equal, right? So these are some of the things that you need to keep in mind in the why part. This is my last slide, where I want to first tell you a very simple story. I picked it up from one of my favorite TED Talks that I was seeing yesterday. This story is about the silver spoon versus the scrapper. Now, a lot of times you feel that my CV is not good enough. Oh God, I don't know if I will be selected, and you're building preconceived notions from before. And I was going through this talk, which talks about 2 kinds of CVs that normally interviewers receive. One is a silver spoon. An IIT IIM grad, fantastic grades all their lives, have worked in MNCs all along, and therefore have appeared here. And we are calling them the silver spoon because the resume is just perfect. And then there is a scrapper. Someone who has changed job multiple number of times, not really the best degrees in the country or the globe, a failure of a startup in the past, tried multiple things in the previous job that they have received. Now the question is, whom will you hire? Firstly, whom will you shortlist? Data says 5 years back, the silver spoon will get shortlisted 9 out of 10 times. Today, the silver spoon and the scrapper have a 50-50 chance of getting shortlisted. And I'm talking to you about hard data, 50% each. Now, what that means is, with time, the market is giving more priority to people who have struggled, who have failed, who have tried, who have experimented, who have seen the hard times. And therefore, more number of times you're giving yourself a shot in your career, it helps. And thus, don't have preconceived notions from before. Some things to keep in mind, just a run through of them. Tone of voice, very important. You don't realize sometimes you're very, very low on your tone of voice. Sometimes you're too loud. That's a very important part. Second is listening. Now, true listening is defined as setting aside of oneself, which means keep your notions aside and just listen to the question or the discussion very, very, very minutely. You'll be able to answer better, trust me, because you're not listening in order to respond, you're listening in order to understand, as famously said. Don't equate your experiences with theirs. It could be the interviewer, it could be other people you meet in the organization while waiting or while leaving. Don't try to say, अच्छा मैंने भी तो ये किया है. अरे, of course I have done this in everything that you hear. Right? Try and keep your experience separate. It could be similar, but it's never the same. Remember, interviews are not promotional opportunities. Here, I don't mean you don't tell about yourself. Of course, you will talk about yourself, but you should not be rambling on and on and on and on about yourself. You will have to sound genuine. And if you're talking about yourself, things which are true, then you will sound genuine also. And therefore, lastly, I've mentioned, be interested in the company, the interviewer, and the truth. When I say interviewer, I mean even the interviewer, it's always advisable to read about the interviewer from before and go there, so that when you are talking to the person, you already know whom you are meeting. Right? Some tips on how you can stand out. Obviously, wearing a killer outfit helps. Dress properly. I mentioned that for video also. Arrive early enough. I think very simple. Ace the tell me about yourself question. 65% people say that they are asked, tell me about yourself. Why not prepare it well from before, right? Connect on a commonality. There will be something common between you and the interviewer. Find that out and connect on that. Bring a midterm plan at least. What's your 30, 60, 90-day plan if you get through, or even if you don't get through? Know more about the company than anyone else. Of course, that's it. True. Focus on personal branding. Can't stress on this point more. If you are going to check the company website, what tells you that they will not check your LinkedIn profile? And therefore, your personal brand becomes very important before the interview starts. What you have posted on Facebook, what you have posted on LinkedIn, you are what you post these days. And therefore, personal brand is an important one. Treat the job interview like a conversation. I've covered that. Ask amazing questions only if you have one. Very important. And lastly, send one thoughtful thank you note post the interview. I've written one. If you have had 5 rounds of interviews, don't send 5. Just send one. Right? Maybe at the end of all the interview rounds, but a thoughtful note always helps. On this note, I would have the second poll of the day. If I can have the poll on the screen, poll on the screen, please. This poll is a slightly thoughtful question about what you think is the most important thing in an interview. Researching a company well, dressing up well, listening actively, or your tone of voice. Let's see the answers of the poll, and here I would hand over to Simon. Yeah, 50% answers in. Can I have more answers quickly, please? Great. Let's have the results on the screen, please. 42% people think listening actively. Very interesting. 31% people with tone of voice while speaking. Simon, I would hand over to you here on this note, as you can see the results on the screen for this question.
Well, thank you so much. It's been an interesting introduction to the topic and very relevant. Guys, I think Debajit has covered a lot. Okay, so it's going to be a little tough for me to sort of match up to that energy and to, sort of give you something new besides that. But just, a thought here that, when you are choosing a job that you love and you would want to do, then you're actually not working. You're enjoying those number of days that you are, in that job. So it is very important for you to understand what is the profile that you would want to get in and how do you want to get in. So if there is a dream job that you, already got in your mind and you said this, so this I think is the best opportunity for you to understand how to crack that interview and how to ensure that you get that. All right. The first thing for any, interviewee, I would say, there are certain aspects. First is the preparation for that interview, then is the interview itself, and then is the post-interview, things that you should be doing or should not be doing. So I'm going to just take you first is research the company. Now, there is no option but to research the company. Lots of times, I've had people come into the organization for an interview for senior positions, mind you, and they would go about like, okay, so what do you do? I mean, I am expecting you to know what I do. You're here for a job, so you should be actually researching about what is the company's vision and mission. So now these are, see, this is something which a lot of us overlook. Why is a company's vision or mission important? Why should a person who's going for an interview really look this up? Because this is actually one mother statement that actually encompasses what this organization actually stands for. Is there a resonance? Is there a compatibility between your thoughts and the organization thoughts? So, for example, I'll give you an example here. My organization's vision is to be a quality and innovation driven global conglomerate. All right. A lot of times people have joined in, and this is one of my pet questions that I always take up whenever I'm doing an induction. I ask people, even during induction, they don't know what the vision is of the organization, which is really strange. But unless you know the vision statement or the mission statement, how are you going to connect to that organization? How are you going to contribute? If I'm saying that I'm going to, the organization says that it wants to be a global organization which is a quality and innovation driven organization, I myself am not quality driven and I don't know anything about how to be a quality person, how am I expecting a person to contribute? So this is important. Yeah. Second is analyze the job description. Now, when you are going for an interview, it is important for you to figure out what is actually the role, what are the key requirements of the role, are you even matching? So, there will always be times when you would be maybe a 50% match. And is this going by itself, Debajit? Because I'm not really. Are you handling this? Remote?
No, you're handling this, Suvin. I think, yeah.
But my hands are here, okay? So I don't know. Technology. I'm sorry, guys. So, anyways, as I'm saying, this is, you need to analyze the job description, figure out where are you fitting. Are you even matching? And apply only if you think you match at least 50% of the competencies mentioned there. Don't just apply because you think it's a great organization and you think you should be going in for an interview, because you will fail in miserably at that time, and that's really not nice. Because see, what happens is, if you attend too many interviews, like the first poll itself says 7 to 8 interviews, if you've been successful, you feel good about it. If you've not, then somewhere down the line what starts happening is it starts affecting your own self-belief, which is not right. I mean, you are good and there are definitely a lot of strengths that you have. You must play up to that. Don't keep attending only to be rejected, which is not right. So if you are being rejected all the time, there must be something wrong that you're doing. Okay, so now I don't see where the thing is. Okay, brush up the basics. Meaning, you may have passed out from college 10 years ago, right? And you're applying for a job of, say, even in HR. So I am an HR person. I'll probably take more examples of HR than anything else. But if you're applying for a job in HR and you've forgotten, and your first job was in recruitment, right? But now you're applying for a generalist role and you're hoping to ace it. So you must brush up your basic knowledge about what you studied in that subject. Now, you may not have had the experience, but you should know, for example, the basics of HR operations. Somebody may just ask you, all right, you're applying for a generalist job and tell me what is the percentage contribution of the PF. And if you don't know, then you've had it. So remember, it is important to brush up on basics. Prepare for potential interview questions. Now, these are something that, besides the tell me about yourself, which is, of course, very important. And as I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because this is important. Tell me about yourself is one question, which you guys also said, I think 67% of you said, right? Yeah. That everybody's been asked that question. Normally, in some form or the other, they will be asking you this question. Tell me about yourself is not about your family, life and everything. It is about a few sentences about just what you've done throughout your life, and more about your experiences, how you sort of think that you are capable enough to join this organization. So you don't have to be, you give a long story or a life story about it, but this is important. You must rehearse this. Debojit also said in his slides that this is where you can stand out from amongst the others. If you are able to articulate this bit very clearly and briefly, mind you, it should not be a very long story again. If you are able to articulate this briefly, you are definitely shortlisted, right? Also, why should I hire you? Why do you want this job? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And so on and so forth. Besides these questions, they will always ask you questions on your profile, on what you've done or not done. So you may be a fresher, and I can see there could be a lot of freshers who've joined in this session. You may really not have much experience, but then looking at the JD, you would see where are the commonalities and what is it that, where is it that you think that you can be a match. So prepare that well, prepare that so that whenever you are asked these questions, you're able to answer properly. Prepare for tests. There are a lot of times when people take tests, there'll be a skill test, there'll be a psychometric test, whatever. So don't assume that there will be no tests. Always be prepared for any sort of test. So that preparation obviously comes in by knowing a bit about, your subject well. So dig out the textbooks, dig out whatever, Google up stuff, understand the profile well, and be prepared. Be punctual. This is something extremely important. People sort of don't realize that this is something, as again, Debojit mentioned, you are under observation right from the minute you reach the gate of the organization, or from the time when you're, switch on your videos for a video interview. You need to be sharp on time. So while it's a video interview, obviously you are sitting in your home and your timer is there. Just log in about 5 minutes before that so that you are there on screen at the time. But if you are reaching an organization and you're supposed to be for a physical interview, make sure that there is a buffer time, figure out how long the time would be and prepare, to reach well in time. Be dressed well. So you're in an interview mode right from the minute you enter the organization. You need to be dressed well. I, for one, definitely am one of those people who will first notice how you look before you even open up your mouth. So there are a lot of people, believe me, like me. So I would suggest that, make sure that you are sharp. And by being dressed well doesn't mean that you are all blingy and, you wear your shadi wale clothes or whatever. You need to be sure as to how to be dressed. And sometimes, and I'm sorry if I sound sexist here, but I have to. And since I'm a woman, I think I can very well say without, getting a backlash on that. But a lot of girls, think that if you're going for an interview, you necessarily have to be dressed in Western clothes, and that's where you will stand out. It's not true, really. You need to know what suits you best. If you look good in a salwar suit, if you look good in a sari, elegant, okay? There is a difference between a party outfit and interview outfit. Figure that out, what it is. There is something called smart casuals. A lot of us don't really know what smart casuals are. Again, Google up, figure out what it is, what would suit you best, what colors suit you best. Don't wear too many ornaments. Don't wear too many, even boys, they'll be wearing 500 rings in their hands and, I don't know, they'll be wearing chains around their necks. This is not what, your employer would really want to see, at least not people like me, definitely. And as I said, there are a lot of people like me. So this is just to prepare yourself, to be dressed well. I'm one of those 6% people, by the way, who said be dressed, in your poll. so yeah, for me, that is that important. Be on your best behavior. Behavior, again, there is no substitute to good behavior. And just saying a small thank you. See, what happens is while you're sitting for an interview, somebody may just, a peon may come and just put a glass of water next to you. Be polite, say thank you. These things are noticed, you're, and this should come naturally. It should not be a, a forced thing, and this will come naturally if you're naturally on your best behavior all the time. So try practicing this even in your home. Be courteous. When you reach an office, if there is a security guard who's entering your details, say thank you. Make some small conversation. You never know who's observing you, really. Then, while entering the room, eye contact. Again, extremely important. I've had people who've sat in front of me and looking everywhere other than me. Okay, I don't know whether I was maybe too intimidating or whatever, but they don't look at you. And when they don't look at you, I don't know where to look at him also, So it becomes really difficult to really engage with someone where there is no eye contact. One of you, I think, has mentioned in the chat as to how do you ensure this eye contact when you are on a video interview. You really don't know how to do that. Absolutely right. I think the best way is look into the camera, or look in the screen where somebody is sitting. I mean, the face is obviously there. Again, it's not necessary. You see, I'm going to quote from example. I've had some of my senior colleagues who don't like getting to switch on their cameras. And so the poor chap, who's on an interview is looking at a blank screen, and all of us have our cameras turned off. It's a very impolite thing to do. I'm sorry, but there are people who do that. Now, if there is nobody on the screen, what do you do? I mean, how are you ensuring that there is eye contact? So best is look straight into the screen, keep answering, keep smiling, keep looking relaxed. That's all right. They know that you're not really seeing anyone, right? Be attentive. This is, of course, listening carefully. This is not the time to be distracted. You must listen to what they are saying. You must speak clearly, and the two are interlinked, because if you hear something properly, only then you're able to speak clearly. A lot of people start mumbling because they've not been very sure of what they have been asked. And so that's one, result of not really listening carefully. Speak calmly, speak clearly. Don't be in a rush. That doesn't mean that, you have all the time in the world. You don't really. But there's a fine balance, and that you would understand only if you practice. So the first aspect, which I said, be prepared, this will help you. If you don't know something, just tell them that I'm sorry, but this is something that I don't know, because here then you are respecting everybody's time as well. Body language is extremely important. Again, this happens in a video interview also. Maybe you are on a video call, but chewing on something, eating a sandwich while or being visible on screen, playing with your hair or whatever, these are things which are not okay. Somebody may have told you that you look really nice while you're flicking your hair back or something. That doesn't help in an interview. In an interview, you must be in a straight position. You must look relaxed. And one way of doing that, and I have noticed myself, that sometimes I use my hands a lot. So the best way to do is either keep them on the table in front of you, or keep them in your lap, so that then you're not fidgeting. You're not playing with your, with your hair and flicking them back, or with your specs or whatever, or, sort of moving in the chair. Don't do that. Okay. It is very distracting. Don't waste time. As I said, people have very limited time. If you don't have any answer, just be polite, understand there will be times when you don't have all the answers. It is only natural. It's all right. You don't have to have all answers. And in that case, just tell them that, okay, I'm sorry, but I don't know this. It's all right. Rehearse explaining your resume. It is important. You've done so well in your life. You've come all the way to this interview, so you would have definitely achieved something in life. Understand how you are going to say that. Formulate certain clear answers for that to get your points clear. Mention your strengths. A lot of time people will ask you, okay, so tell me what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. I mean, this is also a very common question people will say. Figure out what your strength is. Your strength is I mean, you don't have to be boastful of always coming first in something. You know, your strength here is that you are competitive and you try to be the best version of yourself while in a competition. So this is what could be your strength. You don't have to tell everyone that I've, got so many awards and so many this, that, and the other. That's really not, it's not relevant. I mean, it may be relevant to you definitely, but not relevant at this point in time. Define your career goal. Now, this is again, as a lot of people would have asked you, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And the promo was really nice, actually. The trailer for this thing, where I think Palak said that I want to be in your chair in 5 years. Oh my God. I mean, if somebody tells me that, I'm like, why am I hiring this person? Ye to meri kursi lene aa gaya. Okay. So obviously, while you have this in your head, I mean, you may be aiming for my chair. Please don't tell that to me. Okay, I don't want to listen to that. I'm not going to hire you if you tell me that. Okay, because I am scared for my job, and I'm telling you, a lot of people are scared. A lot of times when an interviewer also will not choose the best candidate, mind you, because he might be insecure. That also happens. This is life. Okay, so I'm just giving you the reality check here. If you have a clear goal in your head of what you want to do, articulate it in a manner which doesn't seem threatening to anyone around you. Okay, it should show your ambition, it should show your clarity of thought, it should show what is it that you would want to achieve. So one way of going about it is that, yes, I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be able to contribute more to in an organization. I want to reach a position where I am able to guide others as well. I am coming into this organization looking at you as a mentor, and I would want to really be able to learn much more here. So this actually at a junior level, this seems to be logical enough. I mean, right at a fresher level, if you tell them that in 5 years you want to be the CEO, they know that you really don't know anything about corporates. Okay. Then follow the interviewer's lead. Now, again, this is very important because everyone will have a different way of talking. They will have a different way of conducting an interview. They may want to see how you respond in a stress environment. So they may be very aggressive. You'll have, like in my organization, we always have panels sitting. So there'll be like 3 people or 4 people sitting, and you are in front of them. And right at the minute when you enter, you suddenly are taken aback. Arey, 4 log mera interview lenge. Kya hoga? Kya puchenge? And invariably one of them will be very aggressive and keep asking, ye kya hai, achha tumhe to ye bhi nahi pata, what are you doing? I mean, what have you done the last 10 years of your life if you don't know this? There will be another person who will try and pacify and say, nahi theek hai, koi baat nahi, ye nahi aata, ye bata do, like that. So everyone has a different way. You need to listen well to be able to adapt to this, right? Don't get flustered, don't get intimidated. This is after all a conversation. Kya hoga, zyada zyada job nahi hogi na, it's all right, koi aur hogi. This is probably nahi hui, so that means it was never meant to be. It's all right, so have that positive thing in mind. Saurabh, I think Debojit said that you attended 2 with him and he did not select you. It's all right. I mean, that's not the end of life. You will always get another chance, and there is always something better, which is there. So look at it like that, right? Stay motivated. As I said, it doesn't matter. This is just an interview. So if you are positive, you see, positive frame of mind helps you no matter what in life. So be consciously, in your subconscious, you must understand that there is always a silver lining to every cloud. All right. You need to understand, जो होता है भले के लिए होता है, it's all right, आज नहीं हुआ कल होगा. If you have that philosophy in mind, you will always feel positive and feel motivated. I am good, I have done good in life. This may be an interview which I haven't aced, it's all right. I am not able to answer half of their questions, it's all right. Tomorrow when I go, I'll be better prepared. If you have that attitude and in yourself, you are definitely going to ace the next one, if not this one, right? So show gratitude. Again, as Debojit said, while you are ending an interview, it's always polite to say thank you. You guys have been, it's been a great time interacting with you. And I hope that we are able to work together, something like that, right? Now, Devajit said, ask smart questions or ask away, okay? I am not sure, unless you have something very specific, don't ask. And definitely not ask these questions. One, never ask an interview what the company does. As I said, this is really, really putting off. Okay, if you don't know what the company does, then why are you here? I mean, what have you done? Have you not researched us? Why are you even bothered to come to an organization where you don't know what the company is doing? Never ask questions about appraisal kab hote hain. Last question, if and it has happened a number of times, so I must tell you guys, when I ask, okay, do you have any questions to ask me, a lot of people will say, अच्छा मैम ये बताइए यहाँ पे ना appraisals कैसे होते हैं और salary hikes कब होती हैं, will I get a salary hike in a year? I mean, you've not entered the organization. Okay, these are questions that are relevant definitely, but not at the time of the interview. Okay, if you see, again, there are stages to an interview. If it is the last interview or a last interaction with HR where you are negotiating your salary, where you are negotiating your term, this could be the right question to ask. It is important, it is relevant, you can ask that. But not when you are in the first round or second round of interview where they're still trying to assess whether you are the right person to come in, right? Never ask any personal questions, okay? I was mentioning to Devajit the other day, people sometimes they're really direct, There's this girl who came into an interview and before, I was like standing outside talking to someone and she got chatting. She didn't know that I was going to take the interview. So she got chatting and it was a nice, comfortable chat. But after the interview, she said, so is there anything you would want to ask? And this girl goes, yeah, ma'am, aap apni saari kahan se leti hain? I mean, what sort of a question is that? Why are you interested? I don't know you. I mean, this is a personal thing, don't ask me these questions. Again, don't ask multiple questions in one go. Ask one question at a time. You may have 1,000 questions in your mind. Do you really want to know them right now? Okay, can you not get them from somewhere else? Because see, sometimes an interviewer will also say, ask me if you have anything to ask, and it may be just out of courtesy they may be saying that, they really are not interested in you asking, and that also could happen. So be very careful in figuring out कि वो genuinely they want you to ask, or is it just कि हाँ बोल दिया उन्होंने. If you think genuinely पूछ रहे हैं and you do have some question, you say you could ask something about the role, something that may not have been clear, your JD was not clear, or maybe you're not really sure exactly what are they looking at. So then ask that, but don't ask too many things at one go. And last is okay, you could ask about a company's future plan, or which is related to only one single thing. Don't go in too many directions, don't go asking for too many things. As I said, it's all right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'll take it from here.
Yes.
Sir.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Simit. Wonderful, lot of wonderful inputs, and there are a lot of questions that we would want you to answer in the last 10-15 minutes. But we ran a small survey among people about what was your most interesting interview experience. And we got about 50 odd entries on different social media platforms, and we picked up the top 3. Here are the top 3 winners that we found really interesting, and would request one by one, maybe Manikanta can start 30 seconds each to share with the group on what their interview experience was, and maybe a learning that they would want to state. And if Simin and I want to point out something specific from that learning, we would do that. Mani, you want to go ahead? Mani, if you're there, you will have to unmute if you're talking. I don't know if you're there. Let me see. Can't hear you, Mani. We can move on. Puran, if you're there, we can hear your experience out.
Yes, thank you, Craig and Devojit sir, for giving me an opportunity to share my story. So it's about June 2013 when I went for an interview in Noida for a sales profile job. So I went to the interview room and very senior leader was waiting for me. So he asked me to tell me about myself and I told him about me and my place in tutti futti in English and Hindi. And that was my first, ever interview for a sales job. So after listening 2 to 5 minutes, person said to me that you are too poor in terms of communication. So how you will work and how you will communicate to the client? So that's a very serious question for me, as even I don't know about the Hindi genders like कि मैं खाना बनाती हूँ, that type of Hindi that time I know. So I tried to convince him that I left my home only because of job. Then he gave me a chance. He put a pen in the table and asked me to sell to him. So I was totally shocked and I was blank. I have zero knowledge about sales at that time. I was, rejected with a note by the interviewer that you are too poor in communications. I felt so embarrassed as I was rejected by a friend. So moral of my story is that as from a point of view, I think communication is important for a job, and small research about this job profile and the company before the interview is also very important. So failure or rejection, helps a person to know about himself, that how where he stand. So that's my story.
Interesting, Puran. That's
Yeah,
uh,
thank you.
really wonderful. I think one thing I could pick up myself was the hard work that you put in, taking the failure into your stride, and then bouncing back in your career to achieve whatever you have achieved till now. Very importantly, if we can take
Yes,
the
sir.
feedback and the failures as a very important step of learning, helps all of us.
Absolutely, I agree,
Yes,
Devajit.
yes,
Puran, it is really commendable. You did not ace the first one, but I'm sure when you go for the next, you're much better prepared. You know exactly what to do, how to prepare yourself before going there. And I mean, we are hearing you, so your communication skills are definitely much better than if not good enough. So yeah, all the best to you.
yes, correct, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Same to you, ma'am.
Okay, Saurabh, you want to share one of your experiences on the platform? You're on mute, Saurabh. You'll have to unmute.
Thank you, Devajit, for giving me the chance to speak around this. So it was around 10 years back. I was giving my first interview of the life after my engineering college. The first question came from a 60-year-old guy. It was around, what do you want to do after 5 years? Or where do you see after 5 years? So my answer was, I want to earn this much amount of money. I think he was very kind enough. He told me how to look at this, how to look at the life. So he told me that once you when you get the first job, that is based on what is your skill set around your engineering or around your core technical skills. But once you are in a company, after what you learn from the company in terms of the core skill sets and in terms of your EQ, that defines your output or that defines your money after 5 years. So money is always a byproduct, and learning around EQ plus your core skills is always the core process that you have to follow. Which many people are right now. We in this world are mostly obsessed with the output, but not with the process. So that's the learning I got, and that's from my side. Thank you.
Very apt. I think a lot of us have this in our minds when we are giving the interview. How much will we get paid now in a few years? What's my growth chart? And we tend to get too aggressive there. Very important learning. Very important.
Absolutely, I agree, Saurabh. It is a good learning, I think, and it's a good learning for everyone else. I don't think both me or Devajit really touched upon this aspect, but this is this money aspect. Especially when you're a fresher or a youngster, it plays too much on your mind. Especially when you're fresh out of college and you're going for your first or second job. This is, I want to earn this much, and it seems just within grasp and within your reaching limit, and you tend to sort of have this at the back of your mind. Remember, money will always come in. You first need to figure out what is the role that you want, figure that out, and everything else falls in place, believe me. Yeah, I think money is now also there, so he was written that he was on mute. I think Manikanta, would you want to?
Yeah, thanks, Devajit. this great opportunity to share my experience over here. So it was 3 years back when I attended my interview. Around 150 people attended the interview, and I have traveled around 400 kilometers to attend that interview. So there were 3 rounds which were taken from an and an RSM and a national sales head. So I was waitlisted in round. So I have traveled around 400 kilometers, and they put me on hold, and they made me wait for around 4 hours. So that's when I thought, okay, should I leave the college? In fact, I came out of the campus, I was sipping a tea, and then I thought, I'm not going to get this job for sure. But I have to complete the interview. I should not drop down. So that, I was so confident, and I attended the interview. I was just being myself complete throughout the interview. That's the only thing which got me through the interview, and I worked there. So this was a great experience.
I think it's linked the fact that at any stage in the interview, unless they have told you you are rejected or if we are not moving forward with you, you will have tough rounds. Sometimes, in fact, good cop, bad cop happens by choice.
By design.
Yeah. Yeah, it's designed that way. So very interesting, very interesting.
It also shows that you've been brilliant and that you had that positive attitude, which is so much.
So here we would the discussion and start taking questions. I've already received a few questions, but ending with what Mani was saying, job interviews are like first dates, right? Good impressions count, awkwardness can occur, like it happened in the Manikanta case, and outcomes are unpredictable. Don't try to be the foreteller saying that I know everything and therefore tell you what's the result going to be. Leave it to the interview and leave it to what actually has to happen. So I'll take questions one by one, and Simon would encourage others also to ask. I would ask one or two that has come to you. Shiva is asking Simon, can we directly ask them to please input the reason for accepting or rejecting me before leaving so that it helps me in upgrading?
See, again, it will depend on who and how has that interview gone. Right, there are times when you can ask a question as a youngster. I don't know. I mean, I'm not able to see you, but if you're a fresher or you've just had one job or something, you've not really had too much of experience of going through interviews, so you really don't know exactly how the other person is going to react. So you may, if you think that everything else has gone off smoothly, and they are not most likely going to tell you in that very first instance whether you are selected or rejected. Most likely no. So most likely the person who's going to tell you that or not tell you is the HR person. So you can, because you are probably talking on the phone, and you could say that I would like to improve myself, and is it possible for me to understand what is it that you were looking for and what is it that I did not I wasn't able to bring to the table. So that is going to help me, and maybe in future I'll be able to do better. You can. But more likely than not, first interview, you probably won't even get the chance to ask something like that. Okay. Devjit on mute.
Yeah. Abhishek asks, what is more important in interview degree, in an interview, degree or experience? And he adds, can I add my personal experience of my past organization when I'm answering about myself also?
Of course you can. So Abhishek, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Abhishek. You see, if your degrees were not relevant, your resume would not have been shortlisted. So it is important. Okay, it is definitely important, and that's the reason why you've come for an interview, or you've been shortlisted to come and sit in an interview. Now, after that, it's how you articulate your experiences, how you're able to put across what you've done in life, how you're relevant to the role, which is going to matter. So you can, and if you have relevant experience from your previous or current role, please do say that. Don't assume that just because you've written on a piece of paper, people would have read it and would know. So do say it. It's all right. Yeah.
He also asks, how can I tell my weakness that it doesn't sound like my
This is a
weakness?
bit tricky bit, okay? So this is always a trick question. They will always have one of those questions for you. Rehearse this well. There is no great answer, to this, because if you do your, state your real weakness, मुझे गुस्सा बहुत आता है. बस फिर तो, that doesn't help, okay? But you could always say that I am, I'm a bit impatient. I'm trying to work around my weaknesses. I am trying to figure that out. I have to a certain extent been able to manage that, but this is where I feel I can work around more. So something like that, you could, word it nicely, and then the weakness doesn't look like a weakness either. So
yeah, also Abhishek, I would add here that if you are showing that you have started working on your weakness, that also helps.
yes.
While being genuine, that, and if you can actually give some metrics on what changes have happened. Yeah. Chandresh is asking, Simen, can we ask the company about their selection process?
Again, normally this should not be the first question you should be asking while in an interview, unless you have the HR people. Because see, if you've come there, it is better to follow up on this with the HR separately. The selection process is something that there could be 1 round, 2 rounds. They may tell you that we are in the process of shortlisting candidates, and if you are, then we will be calling you for the next round. So you would know that, right? But if you don't, it's all right. Again, it will depend on how the conversation has gone. If you think it has been too brief or too short and to the point completely, then best not to ask this right now.
Interesting.
Ask the HR.
Aniket is asking, what's more preferable, beard or without beard?
Well, it depends. If you look good in the beard, why not? I mean, who says no beard? Okay, you need to be well groomed. And by well groomed, believe me, guys, gentlemen, I need to tell you, this is something that all girls and guys need to know. Nails are very important, people. Okay, everywhere else, we'll be dressed nicely, we'll be sharply in a nice shirt and everything, and we've forgotten our nails. We've forgotten to clip them. We've got chipped nail paint, on our fingers. We've got big dirty nails, and we've got, as I said, hands. You see, it'll all depend on who is interviewing you. If the person himself or herself is not very careful on their dressing sense, they probably may not notice. But as I said, a lot of people are like me. I am one of those who like well-groomed people, and it is important, especially when you are coming for an interview, you should look that you are interested in the job, and therefore you've taken care for everything. So your beard, if it is not groomed well, please groom it. I don't have a beard or no beard preference, but grooming is important. Okay.
Yeah, fair point. Guys, you're extending it till 1:10. It's 1:02 as I speak. 8 more minutes because there's a lot of interesting questions coming up. Yeah, next one, Simen. Parag is asking what to do in a situation where I'm stuck at one situational question which I have never faced and I have no information about. And they have asked me, what do I do in that situation?
So it's always best to start with that, while I have not faced a situation like that, but I'm going to attempt answering your question because I think there is a logical way of going about it. See, by giving you a situation, what is the interviewer trying to do? They're trying to test your logical, thinking capabilities, your on the spot thinking capabilities, your situational awareness of what different kind of things may come across in an organization, how are you going to deal with that? So you may not have an experience to fall back upon, but you definitely would have some logical answer to that, right? And if you don't, it's all right. Say, but I'm not in a situation, I really don't think I'll be able to give you a right answer.
Abhishek is asking, interestingly, if an interview is conducted in a standing position, what is the best standing position?
Okay, I have not done that, so I don't know. But if you are standing in front of people, and so definitely don't put your hands on your hips. Okay, don't do that. Definitely not. I'm trying to think on my feet now. Okay, so yeah, what would you do? Don't move your hands too much. Have them crossed in front of you. Stand straight, look in the eye. Don't fidget around. Don't move from one foot to the other because you're feeling uneasy. Don't do that. So that actually shows that either you're nervous or you can't stand for long. Again, as a youngster, I think that's also important, that you need to have that energy to stand for long, right? So I guess that's about it. Yeah.
Interesting, thanks. So someone with the name Vivo1802, I think that's their phone, asks, if I'm asked about the CTC right at the starting of my interview, what should be the reply to that question?
Oh, what are your expectations?
Yeah,
okay.
Current and expectations.
Well, see, normally it's really strange if somebody, even before knowing you, starts what is your so people do ask what is your current CTC and what are your expectations, but it's normally before they call you for an interview, because that could also be that they're trying to figure out whether you will come in within the salary range they have in mind. So they may ask you that. But if they do ask you at the time when you've actually come in the premises, tell them that, yeah, this is your current package, and you would be happy with a reasonable increase. So they may ask, what is a reasonable increase? Say, okay, it could be as per company norms, and we'll come to that once you've shortlisted me. So you could say that. You don't have to answer everything there and then.
Kiran is asking, Simin, what is the best way to reply on questions I have no idea about?
I'm sorry, I don't know about this. Simple. Be honest. Honesty pays, okay?
Yeah, and also to add, a lot of people tend to start having very verbose answers to these questions. They tend to beat around the bush. Don't do that, because the interviewer would have taken thousands of interviews before you, right? And they would catch it very quickly. You are not aware. Even if you're a good speaker, don't go beat around the bush. Say that you don't know. Parag asks, Parag we have taken. Anumita asks, what to talk about failures if I'm asked about them? How to talk about them?
How to talk about failure? Okay. See, failures, everybody faces failures, all right? There are no exceptions. All of us have had some ups and downs. It's just how are we taking the learning from the failure that is more important. So you could start by saying, I would like to share a failure from which I think I have learned, and I think I'm a better person today because of that failure, and then start off, so that actually gives an indication that you've been cognizant of your failure. We had a very interesting anecdote just now where Puran actually said that he learned from that failure. He understood that this rejection, why it was, and he's managed to work around that. So today, if somebody asks him, he can very well say that, I wasn't good in communication. I've started working on it, and this is what I've learned from that failure. So you could look at it like that, and the way you're going to speak out is going to inform everyone else whether you're actually talking about a failure or you're talking about a strength that you've gained from a failure.
Yeah, very, very well said. Shareen is asking, what type of CV is better, one page or multiple pages?
See, a lot of people think that one pages are good. I don't think personally. If you have had a number of years of experience, one pages are good when you are a fresher and you don't have too many things to sort of elaborate. But it is always important for you to structure your resume, which shows you first, starting off with your objective of what it is that you are looking for, your basic competencies, then your current job, what it is, and not too long about it, but simply a few lines about the role, or if you have certain achievements, then mention that. So this way, if you go around for each of your jobs, it could run into 2 or 3 pages. It's all right. If you are a senior enough for the person, and the interviewer will have time to go through all of that. So, but if you're saying about 8, 9, 10 years of experience, you may have changed 2 jobs. So it's important to do only that. But suppose you are, a person with say 10 years of experience and you've changed already 5 jobs. Okay, so you have 5 companies to write about. Don't do it in that manner then. Then what you could do is have a small synopsis at the top which says this year to this year, this company, this year to this year, this company, and then write about something on the role. So that would probably be maximum 2 pages. I mean, it shouldn't really go beyond that. So it'll all depend on what level or what stage of life you are in and what sort of a resume you're creating.
Yeah, maybe last 2 questions. Vishal says, if I'm not able to answer the question, is it good that I ask its answer while leaving the interview?
It'll depend on the ego of the guy, okay? So it depends on who's asking you, okay? And it takes a lot of different type of people to make up this world, all right? So there will be people who you would understand, they might be okay with giving you that answer. But there might be a lot of people who would say कि मेरा interview थोड़ी हो रहा है, पूछेंगे आपसे ऐसे ही बोलेंगे मैं इंटरव्यू दे रहा हूँ या आप इंटरव्यू दे रहे हो, why should I answer? ऐसे भी होते हैं, then अगर वो selection हो भी रहा होगा तो नहीं होगा. So figure that out, I don't know how to give you a right answer for this. It will all be depending on, where you've gone, how the people have been so far. And this comes by with some age, I think, by that you're able to read people and you're able to figure out sahi hai ya nahi hai.
Yeah, agreed. So Shareen has asked, can I ask why should I join you? I will answer that. Shareen, it's assumed that you want to join them, and that's why you're giving the interview, and therefore you should never ask that question.
Why will you come if you don't want to join us?
Yeah, I don't know how it occurred to you also to ask that. Nikita asks, what does an HR specifically look for in an MBA HR student while recruiting? I think she's an MBA HR herself, I'm assuming.
Okay. Depending again what stage of life you are a fresher, I would probably look at your subject matter knowledge, and also for me most important is the attitude. For me most important is how you come across in an interview, whether you are one of those kinds who will say that, okay, I am eager to learn and I'm eager to do anything, this is my first job, I will manage to impress you within the first 3 months of my joining in. So, so as a fresher, there's really not much, but then you should have a very deep understanding of your subject if you are a fresher. If you are not a fresher and you are, after a few years, you're applying to another job, then I would definitely like to understand what your experience has been and how are you going to fit into the role that I have for you. So this is something that I would look at.
Yeah, a few more questions coming in, but we would take them on our LinkedIn page, guys. We are out of time, but thank you very, very participative from all of you to ask the number of questions. I think about 5 left. I will be more than happy today itself. I would request Simin also to answer the questions right on our LinkedIn page. We'll copy paste those questions. Thank you, Simin, for joining us. It was wonderful to have you and such relevant discussions on the platform today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, this has been one of the few interactions that I've really enjoyed. I've really not looked at the watch and said, "Ke kitna time ho gaya?" So it says a lot. You guys have been great. I wish you all the best. As I said, it's just an interview, guys. You're here to understand how to be the best version of yourself while sitting across the table. Don't worry. If you don't ace one, you will definitely ace the next one. So all the best.
Thanks, Simin. So guys, as always, we have the next session coming up on something very much linked to today, which is on difficult conversations. I mean, all of us have had those difficult conversations either at home or at work, which we don't really know how to start and end them and how to get the best value out of those conversations. So therefore, we wanted to pick up this very critical skill in order to ace our lives. Data says that if we can get 80% of our difficult conversations right, we are going to reach our goals much faster than what we are reaching currently today. Joining me will be Anustup Nayak in that conversation. Anustup currently leads the classroom instruction and practice team at Central Square Foundation as a director there. Anustup is ex-Harvard, MBA from there, brings close to 2 decades of on-ground experience in education reform. Left a career in United States in 2002 to pursue his interest and passion in education. Over the last decade, has worked in Exceed Education. In fact, I've worked with him there. He's been a regular in the MIT Journal of Innovation, regular writer there, featured in Forbes and Times of India multiple times, and would be joining us next week for this session. So see all of you there next week. Thanks, Simin, again. Wonderful interaction with all of you. See you next week again, 12 o'clock, same time.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.